So for this week's JRPG news, like always, I source these from Gematsu.com. So if you care about any of these, I would check Gematsu out, and they usually have a lot more details in the news articles. I don't go too deep in the podcast, but yeah, if you're interested, go there. And this week we have a lot of news stories, probably like 5 to 6. I think the more deeper we get into the news stories is the ones that I'm more interested in. I'm not sure why I ordered it like that, but I did. But the first news story is that Fairy Tail 2 had a game system overview trailer. And so if you care about the game, they have a very in-depth trailer. It's 18 minutes long that kind of goes over the game systems, and so some of the things they talk about are character progression, character stories, and more in the trailer, as I mentioned. And they have a little excerpt here which I'll read, which is: in the newly unveiled trailer, fans get a glimpse of the new character progression mechanics that will allow them to create their own Fairy Tail experience by managing the skill progression of their favorite characters. And I kind of skimmed through the trailer here and there, and it's pretty much what it sounds like. They kind of go through the characters, how they fight, and I personally don't have that much interest in this game because it's not really a type of game that I play, and I'm just really not into Fairy Tail anymore. I was really into it when I was younger. I loved it, but then the writing was kind of not as good as I wanted it to be the farther I got to the series, so I kind of dropped it. And so if you're really into Fairy Tail and you're into this type of game, be sure to check it out, because at least visually the game does look good. Like, it does look like the anime, which is nice, but yeah, just not my cup of tea personally. The next news story is Atelier Resleriana, the Red Alchemist and the White Guardian is announced for the PS5, 4, Switch, and PC. Now, I know a few weeks ago I reported on a new Atelier game coming. I don't know if it was this one. I swear to God, the name, like if it was this name, I feel like I would have recognized it. But this name, Atelier Resleriana, the Red Alchemist and the White Guardian, seems like very distinct. I feel like I would have remembered it, and I'm not sure how I feel about the name. I feel like it's kind of hard to say. As someone who came from Atelier Ryza, which is so easy to say, and I know they have like a fuck ton more games, Resleriana is just so hard to say. And then you have like the long ass, the Red Alchemist and the White Guardian. Interesting name, but pretty much publisher Koei Tecmo and developer Gus have announced Atelier Resleriana, blah blah blah, is a complete offline and original story in the world of Atelier Resleriana, Forgotten Alchemy, and the Polar Knight Liberator, coming to PS5, 4, Switch, and PC in 2025. And so now that I've read that, like I always say, I always read these kind of like live for the first time just so I can give my fresh reactions. Maybe this isn't a mainline game. Maybe the other one that I mentioned was a mainline game, and this is just kind of like, I don't think it's gonna be a mini game, but I feel like it's gonna be more of a side shoot because it is based on a world of a mobile game. But they do kind of emphasize that it is a completely offline experience, as in like I'm sure it's more like a mainline game, which is cool to see. And so there's a small excerpt here which says: a new adventure with new protagonists and an original story in the world of Atelier Resleriana, Forgotten Alchemy, and the Polar Knight Liberator is coming to consoles and PC as completely online offline title, as I mentioned. And I kind of went through the teaser. It's only 54 seconds. It is very much a teaser, as in like you don't really get much from it. Maybe if you play the mobile game, it's something cool to see because maybe they're showing characters that you know, but it kind of just shows the location, the town. I believe it shows like a character or two kind of from behind them, and that's also, as someone who doesn't know the game, it doesn't mean anything to me. But in terms of graphics wise, it looks good. It looks like a Atelier game, and yeah, there's not much more for me to say. I did play some of Atelier Ryza, the first one, as I mentioned in the past. There was a point in the game where like I kind of got locked out where I had to fight a boss. It was really fucking hard, and I mean it was so hard to the point where I thought you were supposed to die on it, but that wasn't the case. And I tried grinding, but because this game is like alchemy based, it's very hard to grind, where like I would grind the materials I need. It took so long. I was finally able to make better armor, and even with that better armor I just like got wiped from the monster. And so I'm like, this is gonna take forever for everyone. Like it got to the point where I feel like I would have to grind for like more than a week or like 2 weeks or something to be able to beat the boss, and I'm like, this is too much for me to not get any story out of the game, so I kind of dropped it, unfortunately. But yeah, it was a really fun game. One of the first games I actually played seriously on my Steam Deck too. But yeah, Atelier Resleriana, I will keep my eye out for that. The next news story is Dragon Quest III HD 2D remake gameplay trailer. So it is just a trailer to show off the gameplay for Dragon Quest III, and if you didn't know, it is set to be released in November 14th, so it is going to be coming out very soon. And I was looking at the trailer, and man, this game looks so good visually. I had seen screenshots and stuff of it before, but kind of like soaking it in more, it is just a very beautiful game. And I didn't realize that while it is called HD2D, and I'm assuming they're banking off the HD2D visual style, I actually don't see it as the same style as HD2D games. If you don't know what the style is, it's pretty much Octopath Traveler or Live Alive or that kind of thing, where you have these 2D sprites and a 3D world. And while this technically is that, those games to me felt more like, at least Octopath Traveler specifically, because that's the one that I played a bit of, those felt more like almost isometric in nature. It felt more like a diorama where like you had your characters mostly not in the foreground, but you had your characters and the camera's at a certain angle and everything was very blurred out behind you. Like that's how the game kind of felt. Where this game, if I had to describe it based on the teaser or the trailer that I watched, was it feels like you're playing a classic RPG like on the Game Boy or something, but the characters are still 2D and the world is just 3D. That's what it feels like to me. So they're going less for that bokeh look, at least from the trailer, and they're going more for like a classic look, which I really like. And the number one thing that I loved about the trailer when I watched it is I fucking love how the sprites of the characters really feel like they're married into the world. So like if there's any lighting changes, like for example there was a scene where like they're walking in a path and there's like sunlight rays on the ground. When the sprites walked under it, they actually got affected by the sunlight. There's a scene where I believe they're on a boat or something, and the light is very moody and sepia toned and very almost like sunset-ish, and the sprites are actually being affected by that. Like they actually feel like they're objects under the lighting, which makes sense if it is technically a 3D game. They would have the lighting affect the actual sprites there, but it's just really cool to see that you have these 2D sprites, but then being affected by the lighting so well just makes it look even more beautiful than 2D art usually does. And so I'm digging the visuals of the game. I mentioned that I love Dragon Quest 11. I didn't finish it. I was on the finale, but I ended up not finishing it. But I will get back to it at some point. So I'm a fan of that game, and so I definitely want to try this game at some point too. But yeah, Dragon Quest 3 is looking mighty dope, and the trailer is out if you want to watch it. The next news story is for a game called AI Limit, and there is going to be a limited time demo which is going to be launching on October 14th, which is in about 2 weeks. Honestly, I'm not super excited about this. I'm excited for the game, but whenever a company releases a limited time demo, I'm just kind of like, why? Like, what the fuck is the point of that? Because like, I feel like they're trying to copy like the concept of betas, which are like you're supposed to be able to test the game before it comes out, but this is a single player game pretty much, or like it's this game, like you're gonna be able to play single player. So why have a limited time? Just have a demo and have it be out in perpetuity. There's no reason to take it back. So they kind of suck for doing that, but at the end of the day it's still a demo, which is pretty nice, so you get to play it before buying it. And so just some information here. Publisher CE Asia and developer Senses Games will release a limited time demo for action RPG AI Limit from October 14th to October 21st, and it says 10 a.m. for both days Pacific time. And so it is not super long. It is like a week-ish. I think it is pretty much a week. And so very limited time demo. Again, kind of sucks that it's limited, but yeah, it's just if you want to try it, you can. If you've never seen the game, it is pretty cool looking. It is pretty much a Souls-like game, but the aesthetics are more like an anime style, which I prefer. And if you've played Code Vein, it looks pretty much like that, honestly. Like it looks literally like Code Vein, where Code Vein was also a Souls-like game but more anime style, but it still looked very gray and gritty. This is very similar. I kind of skimmed through a trailer and honestly it looks very interesting. I love Code Vein. I didn't finish it, but I played like a decent like 20 plus hours into it, and that is probably the only Souls game which I can see myself finishing because I really enjoyed it. And so if AI Limit is a good game and is a Souls game, maybe this is something I'll pick up and try at some point. Hell, maybe I'll try the demo. I'm not sure if I will, because that is very close to the release of Sparking Zero, and I'm going to be snorting that game when that comes out. And so I'll see if I try the demo. I would have 100% tried it if it was not limited, but it is, so it is what it is. But a bit more information on the demo is that it is available as part of Steam Next Fest October 24 edition, which will feature the entire first level of the game called Sewer Town Southwest, which will take approximately 2 hours to complete, which is a pretty nice length, honestly. And the gameplay includes enemy, elite, and boss battles, and the level will provide a battleground for players to learn how to master spells and spell frames and discover weapons and other equipment. So it does seem like you're going to be getting pretty much the intro of the game. What they said is pretty much saying like, yeah, you'll get the tutorial of the game and learn how to play, etc., etc. And they also mentioned that if you clear the level, it will give you a special reward in the form of an additional secret unlockable level featuring a new boss and combat system not featured in the demo. I can't tell if that means that you're going to unlock it right away, like you get to play it right after the demo, or whether you unlock the secret in the actual game when it comes out. It wasn't too clear on what they meant by that, but nevertheless, if you play the demo, you're going to be unlocking an extra secret thing. And seeing that it's a limited time demo is kind of interesting, that they are giving you a reward that legit, like that's a pretty legit reward. It's pretty much a secret unlockable level, and the fact that you can only get it if you play this demo during that week is pretty interesting. And now that I read this, I guess the limited demo does make sense because part of the Steam Next Fest thing where they have demos, but like hopefully after the Steam Next Fest they just release it like on PlayStation and all that, because like why not? But yeah, it seems pretty cool, and again, because I like Code Vein, I feel like I would like this too. And AI Limit, I believe I talked about in an episode way in the past where I said that I saw it on my YouTube recommended, I watched it and it did look very interesting to me, so very cool to see it get a demo. And the next and last news story is about the game Neverness to Everness, and there's a new trailer called Daily Life and Hetero. So this is a game I talked about before too. It looks very cool. It is very much like a Genshin type game. But some information about it is publisher Perfect World Games and developer Hata Studio have released a new trailer for free-to-play urban open world action RPG Neverness to Everness, introducing daily life in Hatharo. And pretty much what it does is shows new combat. So if you actually go to the Gamatsu article, they go like way deep into the game. Like it's pretty much the point of the trailer is to show a new combat mode called the Esper Cycle, and the article breaks down exactly what Esper Cycle is and exactly every single part of the trailer they go pretty deep into. And so if you're very much into the game, I recommend just going to the Gamatsu article and checking it out, because I'm not going to go that deep into it, but it was pretty much a gameplay reveal. And they also introduced a new boss called the Picture Frame, which is a unique and haunting enemy. And yeah, but pretty much from looking at it, it looks really great. If you want an image of what it looks like, the way I see it is it pretty much has it feels like it has the open worldness of Wuthering Waves, but it has the style and vibe of Zenless Zone Zero. Like honestly, if I had never played Zenless Zone Zero and he showed me like 5 seconds of this game, I would probably think it's Zenless Zone Zero because of what I know about that game. And so the style is very similar, the kind of poppy, cartoony look to it, but it has, I believe, more of the open world aspects of Wuthering Waves. But yeah, it's a very cool looking game. It is a game that I'm very excited to check out once it comes out, especially because it's free to play, so there's nothing to really risk. And honestly, the games like Zenless Zone Zero, Wuthering Waves, Honkai Star Rail, these games are just fucking like fantastic to me, and so the more we have, the better, in my opinion. And so yeah, the Daily Life in Hitro trailer, feel free to check it out. And from there, we are finished with the JRPG news.